Hi, everyone. This is Shelly Hitz from shellyhitz.com, and I'm so excited to be here with you live. And if you are on the call and you're here and you can hear me, please let me know in the chat box in the Facebook or the chat box below. I'm going to go ahead and share my screen so I can get my presentation up. Okay. shellyhitz.com, and I'm so excited. All right, can everyone see my screen okay? To be here with you live. Just going to check here real quick, and excited to be here. If you guys are here live, if you could just put in the chat box where you're from. I am here in Colorado Springs and coming from Colorado Springs today, and it looks like you can see my screen, so I will be getting started. We got quite a few questions, and I'm so excited that you guys are, just really getting into this, and, just excited to see, you take action. And the title of my book is Procrastination to Publication. And as we go through the presentation, if you have questions, go ahead and put them in the chat box or the Facebook comments at any time. And that way I can check in with you on those questions live. All right, Megan, thank you. She says, I can hear you. So that's great. And thank you so much for that feedback, Megan. So I'm going to go ahead and get started. And like I said, go ahead and put your questions in there at any time. And I will occasionally stop and check for more questions or clarifications. We are the opening verse of the opening page of the chapter of Endless Possibilities, Rudyard Kipling. I love this quote because we do have so many possibilities. And with publishing these days, there are so many possibilities for us with books that we can publish, and it makes it so easy, especially Kindle publishing. It is so easy to get your book up and going very quickly and inexpensively. And so that's what I have covered in this training, Procrastination to Publication. And I'm excited to be able to go into a little bit more depth on this Q&A call with you. And I'm excited to see the books that you publish. And as you work for, publishing your book, please let me know. I'd love to hear that. There's nothing that gets me more excited. So you're in the right place if you want to write a book, you're in the process of writing a book, or you are already an author and want to write your next book. So Procrastination to Publication is a great training for any of those situations. So I want to ask you, how many of you have already published a book? If you've already published a book, let us know in the comments below and share a link to your book. Like, we want to be able to see what you've done and be able to celebrate with you. So feel free to go ahead and do that now if you're on live, or if you're later, then you can do that as well. Hi, Philip. I see you are here live, as well as Lucille. So glad that you guys can hear me and that you're here live. So I'm excited to be able to share this with you. So a little bit about me. I've been married 10 years to my husband, CJ. We have not been able to have children, but have two nieces that we love and adore. I have personally traveled to over 10 countries, and my husband and I lived in Belize, Central America for 2 years as missionaries. I have tons of stories about that time. I grew up as a PK, a pastor's kid, and was basically in church the first Sunday of my life. And, I've experienced both success and failure. In this first 16 years of my marriage, my husband and I have paid off over $150,000 in consumer debt and education debt. So that's not including a mortgage. That's a lot of money. So I know what it feels like to go paycheck to paycheck, to feel that suffocating feeling of debt. And why listen to me? Well, I've been earning income in some way online since 2004. So it's over a decade. And this is now my full-time job. In 2011, it's hard to believe, 3.5 years ago, I quit my job as a physical therapist. I gave up a regular paycheck to work full-time in our business and our ministry. So I'm doing this full-time. And since 2008, like most of you already know from my book, I've published over 35 Amazon best-selling books. And I've actually sold books. You know, a lot of people teach about publishing and marketing, and yet they haven't really sold that many books themselves. And I'm not saying this to brag. I'm just saying this for proof. And as of today, the last time I checked, it was several months ago, we had sold over 103,000 books, and our books have been downloaded for free over 500,000 times on Kindle alone. And I believe, you know, one of the keys to my success is, you know, some of what I'm going to, you know, show you today with publishing and all of that. So I'm going to get into your questions. And like I said, you know, feel free to, you know, chat in the chat box or in the comments below. And I will be checking in occasionally to see what other questions you have or clarifying questions. And you can also feel free to put your books titles in there. I see Lucille has put hers in there, her traditionally published books. So feel free to do that as well. So this is the question from Lucille. Do you consider self-publishing and independent publishing to be the same thing? And I wanted to address this because I feel like this is a common question between, you know, amongst authors. And they are pretty much the same thing. Self-publishing is just different from independent publishing in that when you publish independently or indie publishing, you actually have published under your publishing company's name. So it doesn't mean that you're technically an LLC. You could just be, you know, a self-proprietor business. Like when I first started, I started out Body and Soul Publishing as our independent publishing company, but we started with a just under, a self-proprietor business. So it wasn't an LLC yet. Now, this last year, we did formalize our company, and we are continuing to publish and, operate under that title. So that's the basic difference that I see with self-publishing and independent publishing. Also, if we publish a Kindle book, does that mean it's an ebook, or can people buy a paperback book version? And, I think that is a good question because I love to repurpose information. So when you publish your Kindle book, it's the easiest and most inexpensive way to get started. That's why I focused on that in this training. But you can take the same content once you have the Kindle book out, once you have it published, you can take that same information and publish it as a paperback version. And I also recommend publishing it as an audiobook version if it seems to be well received. So you can kind of test the waters with the Kindle book, see if it's well received, if it does well, before you invest the time and the money into the print and the audiobook versions. For self-publishing audiobooks, I recommend acx.com. And so that's one resource you can have for that. And for paperback version, I recommend either CreateSpace or Lightning Source. And with Lightning Source, they allow self-published authors to publish through Ingram Spark. So those are a couple other options for paperback. Teresa asked me this question, and she said, is it a rule for SEO that the targeted key phrase should be at the beginning of the book title? Now, in Procrastination to Publication, I take you through all the different steps that I recommend for publishing a book. And one of the steps is, especially for nonfiction books, which is what I'm teaching, is that you do keyword research. And that way, when people are searching on Amazon or searching on Google, there is a good chance that they may be able to find your book. And when you put that keyword at the beginning of your book title, it does tend to have more power for SEO. SEO is basically search engine optimization. So Google is a search engine. So you're basically just optimizing for people to be able to find your book on search engines. And so, yes, it does have more power when that keyword is at the beginning of the phrase. Let me give you an example. I have a book called Self-Publishing Books 101. When I first published that book, I was optimizing for the keyword self-publishing books. And as you can see, I put it right at the beginning of my title. And then I also was able to put it, in, I think, my description. That's another good place to put your keyword once or twice. And if you don't put it in the main title, though, if it just doesn't seem to fit or it doesn't seem to work, I definitely recommend putting it in the subtitle. And so I wouldn't worry too much about that as far as how much the beginning it is, but it does tend to be more powerful when it is right at the beginning of your title. Here's a question from Lana. Lana had several questions, actually, and she posted these on my Facebook page. So she says, I'm stuck on step number 1, narrowing down your topic. I've written and published one book, but it took a very long time. I have too much I want to write and too much to organize. And I feel you there, Lana. I have a whole list of things that I want to publish and book ideas. I get book ideas all the time. However, in Procrastination to Publication, I've given you a book topic formula to use. Now, let me go over to the book here, and I will go to that section and just find it for you here. Okay. So it's your knowledge plus your passion plus the demand is a best-selling book idea. So what I recommend is that you just brainstorm the ideas that come to you. So just write down every idea that comes to you, and then take, just go through and take like maybe your top 3 to 5 ideas that really get you excited. That is something that you really feel like, oh yeah, this is really something I want to do, and take it through this process. And you can see, I'll scroll down a little bit here. I have in the book, I have a screenshot of an example of how to do this. So you would write out your 3 to 5 ideas, topics. And for me, when I was actually getting ready to write Procrastination to Publication, I was trying to decide what book to write next. I know a lot of people are interested in becoming a best-selling author, or even just how to write a Kindle book, how to write a memoir. So I put those things down, and then I went through my process, my formula that I've shared with you, and I have it all outlined in the book. So what I recommend you do is just go through that process, force yourself, take, out maybe an hour or 2 hours and just block off that time, go somewhere where there's, no distractions, turn off your phone if you need to, and then go through the steps. You want to consider your knowledge, and you want to consider your passion, and then you want to consider the demand. And the demand, I give you step-by-step instructions on how to determine if it's a best-selling idea and if there's demand for that topic on Amazon. So just go through that example, and then, go through my book topic formula choice. I know it's probably hard to really, when you feel stuck, to take that next step, but just, you have all these ideas, you have all these things. So just, narrow it down to 5 of the top ones. And if you don't have 5 top ones, just choose 5, and then go through the process of putting, ranking it 0 to 10 for knowledge, 0 to 10 for passion, and then ranking it for demand on Amazon. You will see eventually the topics that start to rise to the top, and you will see the topics that really are, just a great topic for Kindle for a best-selling book. Here are some other questions from Lana. I've already republished my book once to change the cover, Kindle and paperback, on CreateSpace. Now I want to add a link to sign up for my newsletter, which that is a great idea, Lana, and put a review request in the back of the book. That is also a great idea. I recommend both of those things. And she says, how important is it to add these changes if I already have links to my website in the book? And do I need to make the same changes in the paperback version too? And then how do readers that have already purchased the book get the updated work? So what happens is, with your book, you want it to help you build your platform. And your platform is your website, your email list and your social media platform. But the most important part of your platform, I believe, and what I teach and what's been most powerful for me is the email opt-in list, email subscriber list. And so the best way to use your book to build your email subscriber list and help build your platform is to have a specific link to your newsletter. So if you do not have that specific link with a call to action in your book, I would recommend updating it again. You can update when you self-publish through Kindle and CreateSpace, you can update as many times as you want. Now, if you do have more than, I think it's like 20% of the content that's changed, then for a print book, you would need to get a new ISBN. But for a Kindle book, you can update it as many times as you want with no repercussions. And that's the beauty of self-publishing, because if you're having a special offer or you're having a special promotion, you can change the links in your Kindle book very easily, re-upload it, and go from there. That's one reason I love using my Word templates for Kindle, because I can go in there myself and I can change those links and upload it easily. I don't have to send it to an outsourcer who may take a few days or may charge me money to change those things. I can do it myself. I have control and I can update it as often as I need to. And as far as making the same changes in the paperback version, I think it is good to do that, but it's not necessary. I think you want to have the best product that you can. So if you're able to, without much extra cost and, issue for you, I do recommend doing it. But, it's one of those things that definitely I would change it in Kindle, because when they're on a Kindle book, they can literally click that link and go to your website on their device, whether it's a Kindle device or a tablet or a phone. And so it just makes it so easy. And as far as readers that have already purchased the book, if they've purchased a paperback book, obviously they won't get the updates. As far as Kindle goes, if you have a significant change, then Amazon will notify your readers. As far as I know, it seems to be that 10 pages or more of new content seems to be what Amazon deems as a significant change. Last year, I updated my book, Self-Publishing Books 101, and I updated it with new content. And it was over 100 pages of new content. And that book is perma-free on Amazon. And so if you haven't gotten that book, you can go get that book right now. But it was enough information that Amazon then emailed all of my past customers, which over 23,000 people had downloaded that book at that time. And so they emailed all 20,000 of those people, letting them know there was an updated version of my book, which is powerful to have Amazon email it for you. But if you're just changing a link, if you're just changing a few typos or something like that, Amazon will not notify your readers, and the readers will just have to get an updated version on their own. One of the things I do, or I'll have my readers do, is simply call Amazon support. So just from Amazon.com, their support, and let them know you would like the updated version of that book, and give them the book title, and they will update it on your Kindle automatically for you. That's usually the easiest way to tell readers to get an updated version if you've made changes, but they're not significant enough for Amazon to email. And then another question from Lana: in the future, I want to add titles of my next books to the one I already published. How many times can you change or add to a book that is already published? So I think I already answered that. You can, as a self-published or independent author, you have control to update your book as many times as you want. So I had an author talk to me recently, and she was just freaking out because she was so afraid she was going to make the wrong category choice, or she was going to make the wrong decision with keywords or something. And I said, you know what? Just make a decision and get it published, because you can go back in and update those things at any time in Kindle at kdp.amazon.com. So don't let those things stop you, because you can update them at any time. And that's really powerful. And then she says, what are the pros and cons of making changes to an already published book? Well, obviously, if the book has typos, you're going to want to change that because you want to have the most professional product that you can. If you have typos, you may get bad reviews. And so definitely you want to make those changes if someone brings that to your attention or if you find something, that needs edited. Now, if you are updating a free offer, let's say you right now just have a sign up for your newsletter but no free gift. That's okay. Start where you're at. Put a sign up form on your website. At least get something up there. But let's say later on, you decide you have a book on gardening and you decide to put together a 1-page resource guide of all the best tools to get for gardening. And that is your free gift. I would recommend updating your book at that time and including a call to action and maybe even an image of that free gift or something on there so that you can drive people to your email list and give them a more compelling reason to sign up. The more closely your free gift is related to your book, the more likely that person is going to be interested in signing up. So let's move on to a question from Pam. Where can I find someone to proofread my book before I go to publish? And I gave you some ideas in the book, Procrastination to Publication. And I just encourage you, if you haven't already, to go to that section. Let me come over to the section here on proofreading. And, you can use friends. You can see here it says you can use friends, family, other authors, college students, professors or teachers, or you can even hire someone to proofread your book. And there's a lot of people that are probably interested or passionate about your topic that would love to read that for you. And you can even call them beta readers and give them an advanced review copy. So that's another way to do it. And just let them know you're still in the process of editing. It's not the final book, but they're going to be a beta reader and let you know of any issues, any typos, any questions that they have. And, that is one way to do it. And, if you want to hire someone to professionally, to proofread your book, I've heard of authors that have found people on Craigslist that would be willing for very inexpensive amount to proofread your book. You might put, something out on your social media and just say you're looking for somebody and that you would be willing to pay them something to do it. You could also go to sites like Elance and put up a form as far as, that you're looking for proofreaders. So there's a lot of different ways to do this. I usually use my husband. He's a very good editor with proofreader. I use him, to a lot of times to proofread, and he has this, eagle eye for, spelling mistakes and stuff. And then after that, I will send it to a professional editor. However, for the book that I had translated into Spanish, I actually hired a proofreader because I needed somebody, after I had it translated, I needed somebody to then proofread it and make sure that the translation was accurate. So I did hire someone, and it was a friend that I knew that she was bilingual, and I approached her, and then I just paid her a small amount for that. So here's a question from Jennifer. She says, can I format my Kindle book using PDF? I recently switched to a MacBook and don't have Word. Thanks. Now, I have a link in this PowerPoint, and I will put this in your members area, to the file types that are accepted by KDP. One of the things that KDP did say, and I answered this in the Q&A as well, it says, while we accept PDF files for ebook conversion, PDF files contain special formatting and sometimes images which may not export well in the conversion process. And I am very hesitant to use PDF. Personally, I feel like there's more chances of having formatting errors. You would just need to really make sure and check on all devices, like download the Mobi file from within KDP and then check it on the Kindle app for the PC, the Kindle app for the mobile device, check it on a Kindle device. Just make sure that all the devices and all the apps that is working properly. It just makes me a little bit nervous using PDF. So what you could do is you could either hire somebody for to convert it for you, like to have them convert it to the Mobi file, or you can purchase Word for Mac. So that's something else that you can consider. And I have some outsourcers on my website. Let me go here to the website. And there's one that's pretty inexpensive that you might want to look into. And it's word-2kindle.com. You can get ebook formatting for as cheap as $49. And so that is an option. You can have them just do it for you. You might also want to look into BookBaby, and it's just bookbaby.com. So those are a couple inexpensive options to have someone else do it for you if you just want to do it that way. Like I said before, I do like having control of the ebook formats, and I like formatting in Word personally because I like being able to update my book myself anytime and at the last minute if I need to for a certain promotion or for something like that. But those are options for you. Here's a question from Debbie. I'd love to see a list of your overall to-dos when planning a new book. I don't want to miss something important. And I love that, Debbie, because that just shows that you are so thorough and wanting to make sure you're doing everything properly. But I do want to just reassure you, I put everything that I possibly could into the Procrastination to Publication book. So regarding the publishing process for Kindle, everything in there should be in there for you. You can basically look at my table of contents and you'll see my to-do list. For instance, if I go over to the book right now and go back to the table of contents, you'll pretty much see my to-do list. It's choosing the topic, outlining the book, doing the writing, getting it edited, doing the book cover design, and then the prepare for publication. This is a big area in here that a lot of to-dos that I recommend in choosing your keywords, choosing your categories, writing your book description, preparing your front and back matter, and pricing your book. So those are all things too that you would need to do. The final edits and formatting, and then the publishing, as well as getting reviews. So it's all right here in this book, pretty much, all the steps that I personally take. Now I'm sure there's other things that other people do, but as far as the process that I've used, it's right there for you. So you should pretty much have everything right there. But I appreciate your question because I know that you're wanting to do everything to the best of your ability, and that's the best way to do it, is get all the information up front, and then that way you're starting off on the right foot. And my husband has a book called that for runners, Starting Off on the Right Foot. All right, so I'm going to keep going here through some questions, and if we have time at the end, I'm going to do a demo as well. And I see other people, Nancy and Lana and Philip, have also posted their books in the Q&A. That's awesome. And if you are watching this, feel free to post a link to your book in the Q&A or any other questions that you have. This is from Sheila. She says, I have a recipe book composed of family recipes that have been collected over the years. I published the book on Amazon and it stayed up for a while. Then I got a notice from them saying that the recipes were public domain and I could not use them in a book. I tried to publish as public domain and they said I have to have permission to use the recipes. I see other books very similar to mine that are on Amazon. I've tried to contact Amazon, but all I get is that they will cancel my account if I try to publish the book again. How are people putting up recipes? And, I personally have published recipe books in the past. In 2012, I published an entire series on vegetarian cooking, and there were different recipes. And I also, at that time, a couple years ago, I got a similar notice from Amazon saying that my recipes, were not, public domain or whatever. And I actually went through an intense process of making sure that all of the recipes, all of the descriptions, all of the instructions were completely rewritten. There's actually a tool called Copy Procrastinationscape.com. I think that's what it's called. And you can copy and paste your recipes in there. Copyscape, I think it's Copyscape. And what it will show you is if your content is unique. You may have to pay just a little bit to get, it's only 5 cents per search. But I think, I had paid, and then I used this service and I would copy and paste my recipes into here, make sure that they were coming up as 100% unique, that they weren't, being found on the internet. And, that's something that you have to do if you're creating a book like a recipe book. And I just went back to Amazon and let them know that I had rewritten the recipes, and that they were my own unique content. I don't remember the exact wording I used, but they then ended up lifting that. I think what happens sometimes with Amazon is they just have an automated bot, or they have automated systems that will flag your book. And, as long as you can prove that, it's original content, it's your own content. Because it's composed of family recipes, some of those recipes your family members may have gotten from recipe books or on the internet. So that's why you may have gotten that issue. Now, I do caution you, Amazon is known for closing down accounts. I've had several colleagues that have gotten their accounts closed for breaking terms of service. So I would be very careful about this, since they've already given you a warning. I don't know that I would push it necessarily right now. To be honest, if I were you, I would look at what else could I write about, and what other topics do I have knowledge and passion about that I could write about. And I would actually, suggest maybe starting a new series and starting some other books. You can still publish a book like that as a PDF ebook from your website, and you can sell it like through gumroad.com, or you can just have a PayPal link. And so it wouldn't necessarily be on Amazon, but you could still sell it, if you wanted to sell it on your own. I hope that answered your question. Here's a question from Deborah. She says, I need to know all of the steps which would allow you to format and publish books on Amazon Kindle. I have a book which has been printed. What are the other steps necessary to make it available for Amazon? Well, Deborah, I give you all of those steps in the training, Procrastination to Publication. And I know that you are also part of the Author Audience Academy. And so you will also get access to my exact templates that I use for formatting and all of that. So you will be covered in that, and we will be going into detail in that. If anyone else is interested, I still have 5 more spots in our beta group, and you can check it out at authoraudienceacademy.com. She also said, I also want to know how others have formatted or have their book formatted so the typeset has beautiful font at the beginning of the chapter. Well, if you are really good at formatting Word, you can format that yourself. But one resource I highly recommend is book design templates. And you can find it at trainingauthors.com/book templates. And there you can buy Word templates that are already formatted in really nice, professionally looking ways. I especially recommend this for your print books. But you can also get templates that are formatted for Kindle that are just really, really pretty and nicely formatted. You can also pay somebody to do it for you and to do that formatting for you. And she said, is there a company which prints small quantities of hardbacks for a reasonable fee? Now, you will be able to purchase books. If you use CreateSpace, you will be able to purchase print books at a very low price from within CreateSpace. And if you purchase them directly from CreateSpace, my books have been as low as, $2 or $3 per book. And, I really haven't found many other places that are any cheaper than that. As far as the actual hardback goes, there's really not a great option that I currently know of. If somebody does know of a great company or a publisher that does small quantities of hardback books, please let me know, because I get this question fairly often. I know Lulu.com will print hardback books, but you really can't get a very reasonable price, and you'll be lucky to break even. So right now, I would suggest, unless there's a reason that you need to do a hardback, I would just suggest doing print books through CreateSpace and ordering your own copies from within CreateSpace and getting the at cost price from them. I hope that makes sense. Okay, I'm just looking at the comments, and Lana said, is there an alternative to ACX for audiobooks? I don't think they let you use their services unless you're in the US. Yes. And Lana, I do have a couple other options that I can put in the chat room later. I don't have those off the top of my head, but there are a few other options and a few other companies that you can use for audiobooks if you're outside the US. I have a book, how to publish or how to record and publish audiobooks, and I can get those resources for you and put that in the members area later. So let me just make a note of that. All right. Here's a question from Tim. He says, is it typically worth moving from KDP Select so as to offer ebooks on Nook, iBooks, etc.? I have done so and have had very poor results. Should I go back to KDP Select? And Tim, this is a great question, because it really depends. I mean, it's different for every book. So my husband and I, and with our publishing company, between the two of us, we've published over 50 books. And, you know, each of those books we have decided differently. So some of the books are doing really, really well in KDP Select. And for those of you that may not be familiar, KDP Select means that you will sell your ebook exclusively through Amazon, and you sign a 90-day contract. So that means you can't sell your ebook anywhere else for those 90 days in ebook format. You can still sell it in audiobook format, in print format, and even in other languages, because I've asked Amazon specifically about that. But you can't sell it on any of the other ebook platforms, and you cannot sell it or give it away as a PDF on your website. So, but KDP Select can be very powerful. For instance, I have some books that are 99 cents, and they're in my gratitude series. So it's, you know, they're small books, you know, kind of what I'm, you know, sharing with you in this course is, you know, to write and publish these small ebooks in a series. And one is a challenge, one is 21 prayers of gratitude, and one's 21 stories of gratitude. So I have these small books on gratitude, and they tend to do very well in KDP Select. Normally, I charge 99 cents for them, and when you charge 99 cents in KDP, you only get 35% royalties. So that's less than 35 cents per book. But when you have it in KDP Select and someone borrows that 99-cent book, then you get whatever price that Amazon is giving for that month for the borrow. So a lot of times it tends to be around $2.50. You know, anywhere in there, sometimes a little less, maybe $1.70, but you get that amount. Let's say you get $2 for every borrow. Well, then that means I'm making $2 on a 99-cent book that normally I would only make 35 cents on. So does it make sense that, you know, for that book, when I'm getting a lot of borrows and I'm making, you know, money on those borrows, it makes sense for me to keep that book exclusive on Amazon because it's doing really well in the KDP Select program. However, we have other books that just didn't do very well with the borrows or that sort of thing. So we would take them out of the KDP Select program and republish them on all the ebook platforms so that, you know, our customers would have choices. And so it just depends on the book. It sounds like you have not had very good results on the Nook and the iBook store. Now, I do have a colleague, Joanna Penn, and she primarily does fiction books, but she has a lot of success on these other platforms because she really markets them. So if you haven't done very much marketing or haven't really done much with your book on your other platforms, you know, you may want to give it a little more time and, you know, try to do some marketing specifically for those platforms before you pull it. However, if you just, feel like it was doing better, and getting borrows and doing things in the KDP Select program, it might be good to go back to that. All right. It looks like there's a couple other questions. Lana says, do you recommend music intros for audiobooks for each chapter, or is it better to have no music? I personally don't use music. I haven't used music, but that's just up to each individual author. I'd recommend listening to some of your the audiobooks in your genre, in your niche, and see what they do and see what seems to be standard for that. Philip says, is it possible to extract a chapter or portion of a book already published and sell that section separately under a new title? Yes, and that is a brilliant idea, and I've actually done that. Philip, I have a book. It's called Forgiveness Formula, and it was a book my husband and I co-authored. And there's a whole section in there about when things just don't make sense. I share the story of my grandma. My grandma was murdered, and I've had some other just really hard things happen. I don't necessarily need to go into it on this webinar, but I just have had enough hard things happen that I ended up writing a section in that book on when bad things happen. And what I ended up doing is I took that section, because it's a fairly good size book, Forgiveness Formula. I took that section and put it into its own ebook, and I titled it Trusting God When Bad Things Happen. And that book has sold very, very well. And then I have a link to Forgiveness Formula if they want to purchase the entire book. So that is a very good idea. And if it makes sense, if it can stand alone, I did have to do some editing. I had to, kind of change the introduction and that sort of thing. But that is a really great idea especially if you have a big book. Like, Lucille, that I don't know what rights you have with your traditionally published book, but if you have the rights to republish that, you might even take sections of that book and publish them as small Kindle ebooks as well. All right, so this is the question from Magnificent Life Coaching. That was the name from Facebook. He said, I'm not clear on if I can use CreateSpace living in Australia. And basically, what you need to do, if you're outside the US, you simply need to get an EIN. And it's an employee identification number. It's fairly easy from what I understand to get one. And I've given you a link. There was a person from Australia that posted about it a couple years ago, but the information still looked like it was applicable. And she gave the exact process that she went through to get an EIN in the US and to be able to publish through CreateSpace. So if you're outside the US, you definitely should be able to do that. And then he also asked, if I should I just record myself speaking and get it transcribed and edited, or just write myself? I feel I have many choices in terms of what to write about, but I'm paralyzed by having to be strategic about marketing and selling properly. So could you comment, please? I think it just depends on, what you feel most comfortable doing, what you have the time for. In the book, I talk about the 3 different ways to write your book. One of them is to speak it and have it transcribed and edited. One way is to write it. One other way is to get a ghostwriter. But for me personally, the majority of my beginning books were done just writing and typing, directly into my computer. My last few books, because I was a speaker before as an author, I'm very comfortable speaking. And once I have my outline, I can pretty much speak through my book pretty quickly and easily. I have done that for my last couple books, and it has helped me to write them super fast. And so I think you just need to choose a way, try it, and see what works best for you. In the training area, in your members area, there's a download for an Excel spreadsheet. And what that Excel spreadsheet will do is it will help you to track your number of words. And so what you can do is, just simply choose an option. I mean, that I was telling myself that recently. Sometimes we can research, and sometimes we simply need to make a decision and move forward. And, there's really not going to be any perfect scenario. So I say at this point, just make a decision and move forward. If you're a really good speaker and you feel very comfortable and confident on your topic, I say go for that, because it is a super fast way to do it. But it's also really a great way just to write in like a template. Like I use my Kindle template, and just to write into that template and to type directly into it. So just choose a way and move forward. As far as what to write about, because you're going to be writing a small Kindle ebook, I wouldn't focus on that so much, because right now you're stuck. I would just choose a topic that, is something that you have knowledge and passion on. Use my book topic formula, go through that, and just write, get it done. Just get that first book done, learn the process of publishing, and then you can come back and you can write other books and you can expand on other topics. And, but once you know the process, once you've done it, it's going to make it so much easier to do it the next time and the next time. But if you stay stuck and paralyzed, then you'll never get going. So my recommendation, because Kindle is not permanent, you can always unpublish a book too. Like if you publish a book and then you just decide, I don't want this associated with my name anymore, you can unpublish it and it will go away forever. So there is no harm in taking that step, just choosing a topic and doing it. And so I just say, go for it. I'm cheering you on, and let me know. For accountability, I want you to either email me or post in your comments what topic you're going to choose. So let me know, because I want you to move forward. I'm just going to check and see if there's been any more questions in the members or in the on the area here. Saw a couple new ones. Let me just refresh my screen real quick. I also had a couple common questions that I get that I wanted to cover as well. Megan says, I have a blog and I've been considering using some of my posts in an ebook I'm working on. Will I still be able to keep my posts on my site? Would it be better to take them down once I've published the book? Not sure what would be allowed. Okay, so Megan, I've done this as well. So you have two different options. And if you want to keep your blog posts on your site, which that's what I've done, I have just taken information from my blogs and I've been able then to use that as content in a book. If you do that and you keep those blog posts on your site, then you are not eligible for the KDP Select program. You can still publish on Kindle, but you just cannot publish under KDP Select. And in that case, if you still want to offer your book free for lead generation, then what I recommend is going the perma-free route. And I use Smashwords to format my book and publish it for free on other platforms. And then I just simply go to Amazon, and under product details, there's a link. It will say, tell us about a lower price. And you can just let them know where your book is published for free. And a lot of times they will price match it. So that's how I got my book, Self-Publishing Books 101, for free on Amazon all the time. So that is an option, because Self-Publishing Books 101 has a lot of content that's freely available on our website and blog. And so I was not able to use KDP Select for it. Another option is to do what you mentioned and to unpublish those posts. And I did that for a book. It's called Unshackled and Free, and it's true stories of forgiveness. So people would, when they were first submitting their stories, they submitted it through our blog. We had a form, and then we would publish them on our blog. And that was bringing some traffic to our site. And then once we had enough stories, it took a little while to collect all the stories. Then I compiled them into a book and unpublished them from our website so that I could use KDP Select. So you have different options there. I hope that makes sense. Leanna says, there might be a change in the EIN requirement. The last time I tried to use my EIN for affiliate program, they required my tax number from my own country. So one thing I do recommend always, KDP has one of the best, and CreateSpace and Amazon, they have some of the best support. I have never had an issue getting a question answered. So I would recommend just contacting CreateSpace directly and asking them, what are the exact requirements? What are the exact steps? And they will tell you. Now, one thing that I've noticed is I'm in a lot of author forums and especially author groups on Facebook. And sometimes people get really worked up about something and really upset or anxious. And they're like, oh, I don't think, Amazon allows this and da, 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 da. And they'll just be going on and on, getting themselves worked up and getting everyone else worked up. What I do in those situations, and I've done this in the past, is I'll just go directly to KDP's support. So I'll log into my account, kdp.amazon.com, scroll to the bottom, and there's a contact us link. I will contact them. I will ask them the question directly, and then I will have a written response from KDP. If there's ever a question in the future on terms of service or anything, I can always show them the email that they gave to me and say, well, you said that it was okay. So then I will ask them, and then I'll post in the group, I'll say, I asked them directly and they said it was fine. And all of a sudden the fire goes out and all the anxiety leaves. So I recommend, instead of worrying, instead of getting anxious, instead of wondering, just simply ask. There's no harm in just asking directly Amazon the question that you have. And Philip said, can you suggest the minimum length of writing and publishing ebooks? So I did put that within the training, Procrastination to Publication. What I recommend for Kindle ebooks is for the short ebooks, is anywhere from 6,000 to 20,000 words. So for nonfiction, that's what I recommend. Now for novellas, it might be, a little bit different, but specifically this training is focusing on nonfiction. That's what I've published. That's what my expertise is in. So anywhere from 6,000 to 20,000 words. I'm just going to come back over on the Procrastination to Publication. My word count as of right now is 12,109. Now that's with all the table of contents. That's with the front matter, the back matter. So that just gives you an idea. That particular book is around 12,000 words, and that's a pretty good length. What I recommend is that you answer one specific problem. You solve one specific problem in your ebook, and as long as that person is searching for that answer and you give them quality information and quality content to solve that specific problem, they're going to be happy with your ebook. Now, if your ebook is just a bunch of fluff and it really doesn't answer a specific question, people may return your book, because I don't know if you knew this or not, but with Kindle ebooks, you can actually return them for 7 days after your purchase. So you might get returns, or you might get bad reviews. So you definitely want to make sure it's good content in that 6,000 to 20,000 words. I tend to like to stay around more 10,000 to 20,000. But again, if you're answering a very specific question and you're giving them very good information, you can even get away with as few as words as 6,000. So I hope that answers your question. So I already kind of answered this, but can I change my book file later on? Yes. So many authors get worried because they think, okay, this is the final thing. Once I submit this, it's done. But it's not. That is the beauty with self-publishing. If you're just making minor changes, even with print books, you can re-upload your files to CreateSpace and not need a new ISBN. And with Kindle, you can change it as much as often. I had mentioned this earlier. I had an author that said, I'm not sure which categories to choose and I'm stuck. What should I do? Don't let that stop you. Go ahead. Go through the process that I recommend in the book of choosing your categories, but then simply choose something. And then you can always go back later and do more research, and you can always change your categories at another time. So don't let that get you stuck. And another thing I hear is, I'm afraid I'll make a mistake. What if I do something wrong or I make a mistake? Again, there is a process in place, and once you upload your file, you can check it on all the devices, and you can have people look it over, and if you find a mistake, then just correct it. And there's really not much to fear as far as making a mistake. I mean, as long as you're putting your best effort into it, you're doing everything you can, and you follow the system I've given you, just get that first book done. Get your book done, get it out there, and then you can tweak it and edit it later. All right, so I was going to do a little bit of a live demo, but I just want to see if we had any more questions from those that are on live. Let me just double check here. And have you guys been finding this to be helpful for you and the process that you're going through? If so, just let me know in the comments that you found it helpful. Now, what I want to do on the live demo is I want to actually go through the process of showing you how to outline a book. And so what I do for outlining a book is I like to actually use a mind map. I personally like using the one on the computer, but you can also mind map with sticky notes, which that entire course is in your members area. One person was asking me where that was because the link goes to the purchase page. So, originally, I was planning on publishing my Procrastination to Publication book on Kindle, and so that link was to be an upsell from my book. But right now, I've decided to just make it exclusive as a PDF on my website. So, but all of that information is in your members area. Just go to your members area and then scroll down to the bottom, and you'll see that course on sticky notes. Megan said, Shelly, this has been great. Thank you so much. And Lana says, yes, very helpful. Thank you so much. Thank you, ladies. I'm glad to hear that. And this is my book outline formula. So you have this formula in the book, Procrastination to Publication. And what I recommend is an outline. And I was working with a client last night, so I was putting some other stuff in there. But you can see here in the introduction, you want to include the benefits, what your reader will learn, make it compelling. And one of the reasons your introduction needs to be so compelling is because for those of you that have been on Amazon, you can start reading some of the book, the look inside feature on Kindle books. You can start reading the beginning of the book for free. So someone may come to your book and say, oh, I want to look at this book. Let me come over to Amazon here. And they start looking at your content. So I've been talking a little bit about my book, Self-Publishing Books. If I just type in self-publishing books and scroll down, there's my book right there. So I come over to the page, and all Kindle books have a look inside feature. So you just click on it and you can start reading. You can see the table of contents, the preface, and then you can start reading the book from Amazon. And so this beginning part of the book, you want to make as compelling as possible so that it makes them want to keep reading. You want to include the benefits and that sort of thing. Chapter 1, I'm going to delete those. You want to do your story, your turning point, and your success. So most nonfiction topics will have some sort of personal story behind them. And you will be able to share, let's say you've also gotten out of debt and you've paid off over 6 figures in debt, and you have a system now that you recommend. You can say your story, how you made poor choices, you got into all this credit card debt, the turning point, what was the turning point for you, and then the process you used to succeed. And so that's what I normally recommend putting in either in the introduction or chapter 1, but chapter 1 is a great place for that. Now, your other chapters are going to be the meat of your book. And here, I like to have a chapter title, point number 1, point number 2, point number 3, and then you can have either, 3 to 5 points is what I normally recommend in a small nonfiction book. 3 points is usually good. And that's kind of, that's basically what I recommend. And then the conclusion is just the summary of everything covered, include all the key points or steps again. And this repetition helps solidify the content in your reader's mind. So, if I am, outlining a book, what I tend to do is I just like to do what I call a brain dump. And I just like to put everything in there. So one book I thought about writing is How to Diversify Your Income as an Author. And I was just looking to see here. It looked like we had a couple other comments. Gail says, if you have many pictures and or screenshots for a how-to book, do you use a programmer or do you use Word and make all the graphics a certain size or resolution? Can you trust that to be viewable on Kindles or PCs? Let me just answer that real quick, and I will move on with the demonstration. But yeah, Gail, if you have a lot of footnotes or tables or just a lot of images, you may want to hire somebody to do that. My mom is a professor at a seminary, and she has a book that she uses as a textbook, but she self-published that book. It has a lot of footnotes. It has all these tables. It's just very complicated, more complicated than what I would be able to do correctly. So I had her hire somebody to do the formatting for that. Now, if it's just pictures, what I've done for my book, Marketing Your Book on Amazon, it has a lot of screenshots. And so I did get an email from Amazon telling me that there was a complaint from one of my customers that the screenshots were not readable. And at that point, I didn't know exactly what to do. They wouldn't let me publish my book until I corrected it. So what I ended up doing is I created a page on my website with all the screenshots, and then I linked to that page in my book. So, that's one thing that I did. But, I know a lot of authors that just do screenshots the same way that I do, and they have not gotten any complaints by just inserting the pictures on their own. So I think it depends on what the screenshot is. If it's, a big picture, like my screenshots were showing like the whole screen of like Amazon. So it was showing this whole thing with arrows, and I think it was just too hard for someone to read that much stuff. But if your screenshots are small and clear and not a lot of information, I think you'll be fine. So, your options are either to hire someone, or like I said, you can put a link to your website where they can view those screenshots online. And if you'd like to see how I've done that, just contact me, just email me, and I will show you how I did that. And Philip said, extremely helpful. Thank you so much. I'm on chapter 3 of my next book after following your steps to help me determine topic and chapter titles. That is so awesome, Philip. I'm so excited that you are taking action. That excites me. I love working with action takers and people that, are just willing to take that next step. Like I said, if you're going to go from procrastination to publication, you have to sometimes just simply make a decision and say, I could think about this for years, but it's time to make a decision. So back to my demo. This is, I'll just make a thing for a brain dump, and you can do this with sticky notes. You can do this in your notebook. You can do this on a whiteboard. You can do this in so many different ways. And I've done it in different ways. I did this recently for my presentation I gave at an author conference last weekend. It wasn't for a book, but I was outlining my conference presentation, and I was just looking at the computer and I was stuck. And so in those cases, what I do is I will get offline and I will get inspiration offline and then bring it onto my computer. So what I did in that case, I just started doing my brain dump on my whiteboard. It got me unstuck, and I got the flow and ended up, being able to do something from there. So, if you feel like you're getting stuck one way, try another way, do something different, change your environment, go to a coffee shop for a writing date, but just do whatever you need to do to get unstuck. And someone said, this is so great. What program are you using to do this call? I love this. And I'm actually using Google Hangouts. So it's really, really cool. You can use Google Hangouts, and then Google Hangouts will give you ability to embed into something. So I don't know if you can see my screen right now, but right here, you can get your links. And then the video embed is right here. And so I've just embedded the video in a lead page. And So it makes it really great. And then I'm able to I'm using Chatwing for the chat. And then I also have the Facebook comments there for anyone who would prefer to use Facebook. But yeah, I love doing this. And I think it's just really a great way to be able to interact. And, you know, people who couldn't make it live could also post their questions ahead of time. So that really made it nice. So for the brain dump, like for this book that I've thought about writing, I could just write about all the different ways that you can diversify your income. So you can create products. You can do coaching. That could be one-on-one, or it could be group coaching. You could do speaking, and that could be like this, what I'm doing here, webinars, live events. You could do advertising on your blog. So if you have a really popular blog, that's something to consider. And I've actually sold advertising on some of my websites and blogs in the past. You can do affiliate marketing, which I love this. You know, once you find things that you really like, for instance, my program, Procrastination to Publication, you could sign up as an affiliate, and then you could promote this product. If you're interested, I could give you a coupon. You could promote to your list or to the people that you know, and you could make 50% of that. So affiliate marketing is finding products you believe in, and then, you know, you can promote them, and, you know, for a certain percentage. It could be doing services. So maybe you offer to format books for people. Once you learn the process, maybe you offer to do that as a service. You could offer VIP days. You know, if you do coaching, that's another form of coaching. I guess I could put it over there. And you can see how I could go on and on with this. Let's see. I could do, let's see. Yeah, so I mean, you know, with products, I could, you know, and literally I'm just doing this off the top of my brain, so it wasn't prepared. I'm just doing this. You could include video, you could include audio, PDFs, live webinars like we're doing here for Q&A. So those are all the different things you could offer in some sort of product. And this is really, really a great idea for nonfiction authors to include some sort of product that you can offer from your website that you can sell on your own. And you could take the content of your book and create video training, go into more depth, go into more step-by-step, offer templates, offer different things, and then, you know, you can offer that as a product. So I can just brain dump, you know, I've just put everything in here. And, you know, like you saw, I can move things around if I want to, you know, put that in here or drag and drop it. But, you know, you just do your brain dump. And then once you have that, then you can decide how you want to order it. So for me, I think, you know, I could do a lot of different things, but, you know, you have your chapter title, but I could just drag and drop this up to chapter 2. Let's say I wanted to start with products. And so I put that in there, and I could just say, let's see, products. And accelerate the growth of your business. So, you know, by offering products in addition to your book, you can accelerate the growth of your business. And people are interested in that. They want to know how to grow their business, how to earn income, and that sort of thing. And I have that there, but then I could just put in point 1. It's, or I could just say, often people learn in different ways, and so they'll want other content from you. Some people, I have actually products that are just PDFs, and I've actually gotten support requests telling me that like one person wanted a refund because they prefer video content, and that was fine. I refunded them. It was within the refund process, but some people will want video. They will want more information from you. And so by providing a product and providing something that they can continue to learn from you and get that video or the audio in a way that they like to learn, it's a great way to serve your audience and to help them to grow further, to help them to take action on what you've taught them, and so forth. The point number 2 is it's a natural progression from a book. And like I said, you can take the chapters in your book and expand on them and so forth. And then point 3, a great way to diversify your income. Royalties come and go. So what I've noticed, I'm doing this full time, and there have been months that we get our full-time income from book royalties. It pays all the bills. It's basically everything that we need for that month. Then there's some months, and I've noticed the summer tends to get slower. There's other months that just for whatever reason it's slower. And if I didn't have other products and other services, coaching and things like that, it would be difficult some months to pay the bills. And so it's really a great way to diversify your income because your royalties will go, come and go. And it's just a great way to provide, extra value to the people that you're serving. So you can just come in here, figure out the title, you have the general theme, make your points, and then you have a really good outline. Now, I could even, take the audio from this and have it transcribed and then just edit, add more information in there, and I would have a really good place to start for that chapter. I would probably add examples of my own my own case studies and things like that. So, this is a great way just to do your outline. You just do your brain dump, you put everything in there, and then you start putting in the different chapters. You don't need this many chapters, but I just have that right now. And then you figure out what are your top 3 to 5 points for that chapter, and then you can do it from there. And it's just a real easy way. You can move things around. Let's say you decide later that you want chapter 2 to be something else. You can just, what I did was I left clicked the top one, and then I held down the shift key, and then was able to select everything. Then what I can do is just copy that. And let's say I wanted to have it in a different chapter. Let's say I just wanted to put it in here. Then I can just paste it. And all of those points, I was able to just do that. You can also drag and drop it. You can copy and paste it, but you can move things around so easy in a mind map. And that gives you a lot of flexibility when you're outlining. You can start with something, and sticky notes, it's the same thing, right? This week I've been outlining my authoraudienceacademy.com course, and it's going to be for 3 months. So I have a ton of information. And I was feeling stuck again, so I used my sticky notes, and I have these big sticky notes, the giant sticky notes, and then I just use the giant sticky notes to just put all my ideas on there, and then I organized it into what made the most sense, logical order. And then once I did that, then for week 1, I have one sticky note that I just, put a brain dump for week 1. I organized it. It could be, for you, chapter 1. I organized it into a logical order, and now I'm moving forward with creating the videos and the content for that. So, you don't have to use the mind mapping software. This is FreeMind, which is free online, but you can, you can use sticky notes. You can use your whiteboard. There's so many different other ways that you can do it. Gail said, "Thank you, Shelly. That was really helpful about screenshots. I'm publishing my first Kindle ebook, yay, first series this weekend. Gail, definitely let me know once you publish your book. I just am so excited for you. And Lucille Zimmerman said, thank you. You're pretty amazing. Well, I think you're pretty amazing too, Lucille. I know what you do, and I know how many people you help. And so we all have our gifts and abilities. And I believe one of my gifts and abilities that I've been given is to help authors. And so I'm so excited to be helping each one of you. And, you know, that is something that I love to do. So, you know, what I was able to do today is I was able to share with you a couple formulas that I've developed to help you write your book fast. It was the book topic formula and the book outlining formula. So if you have not read the book yet, go back to those formulas and choose your book topic, even if you can do it tonight. I double dare you. I dare you. Double dog dare you. Who's going to take the dare? You know, write in the comments if you're going to, whether tonight or tomorrow or sometime very soon, you're going to choose your topic and you're going to move forward. If you've already chosen your topic, I encourage you to take that book outline formula. And that's your knowledge, your passion, your demand. And, you know, all those steps are right there in the book for you. And I just love using markers and different colors, and you may not be that way, and that's okay. But if you have markers, even, you know, try doing some different colors while you're writing out your different topic ideas. It's such a great way to do it. And then, like I've already went through the different book outline formula, and all this on the PowerPoint will be in your members area as well. So you'll have all of this to go back on. But you want to know what gets me most excited, more excited than almost anything else? It's when I'm able to help authors get published and live out their purpose. I believe each one of you has a message. You have knowledge and passion and experience that someone needs to hear. Somebody needs to hear what you have within your brain. I tell my husband all the time, like, he has so much information in his brain about running competitively. Like, he coached me and he helped me reach a ton of goals in the last couple years. And I just keep telling him, we need to get that information out of your brain into books and products. And we're working on that. But, you know, I believe each one of you has a passion and experience and knowledge that you can use to help people. And Jennifer is one of my clients, and she's part of this program. And she said, you know, she sent this to me and I have her permission to use it. But she said, I finally feel like I'm doing what God has called me to do. She published her first book, Scarves of White. And I'm so proud of you, Jennifer. I just am, you know, it just thrills me so much. So, you know, when you take the next step, when you choose your topic, when you have your stuff outlined, come and let us know. Let me know on my Facebook page. It's just facebook.com/author audience, or come and you can friend me. It's facebook.com/ShellyHits, and I love to hear your success stories. You can email me as well. But I wanted to share with you, you already have Procrastination of Publication, and some of you have already joined me in my beta program for Author Audience Academy. I am just so excited about this. This is like the culmination of my life work. I feel like, you know, just coming into this Author Audience Academy, being able to empower authors. The last 6 months or so, I really felt like I really wanted to help authors take their work to the next level, not just publish a book, but actually create a business. And the Author Audience Academy is going to be an online training program to help you reach more people with your message through Kindle publishing, exactly what we've been talking about. You can take everything that I've already taught you in the Procrastination of Publication and do exactly that. However, in Author Audience Academy, I'm going to give you the exact templates that I've used. I'm going to give you video training. I'm going to give you worksheets and checklists and all sorts of things for you to really take it to the next level. The second month is going to be about setting up your marketing system. And this is what I really believe that is one of my expertise, is online marketing. And I'm going to share with you what I have done through what I call the Build and Grow Marketing Map. And then finally, in month 3, you'll create an additional income stream. And that's what I was just doing with my demo, being able to create a small information product, offer coaching or speaking. And I'm going to take you step by step exactly how to set up these additional income streams, because I have done just about every one of them successfully. And so what you'll get is 3 months of video training, my Kindle templates in a step-by-step system, lifetime access, and I'm going to continue. This is my signature program, so I'm going to continue to make this the best program I can. I'm going to continue to add to it. We have a private Facebook group, and those of you that are already in the program know that I am in there. I'm answering questions, I'm commenting, I'm replying, and in this beta group, you're going to have even more of my attention. And so regular check-ins from me so that you don't get stuck. And it's, if you want to publish a nonfiction Kindle book and you want the accountability and you want to do it in the next 30 days, this is for you. If you want to reach more people with your message, with your business or your ministry, if you want to grow an existing business by getting new leads, or if you want to build a business even from scratch, you can do all of those things. And so this was, but it's going to be published for $499 once I have the beta group done. And to be honest, I'm not going to be offering discounts. It's going to be full price, and it's just going to be a ton of content, 12 weeks of content. I'm just going to give my very, very best, but right now it's not $299, but it's actually $199, and you can sign up. There's only 5 more spots at authoraudienceacademy.com. And it really is, I really want to help you get results. That is my main goal with the Author Audience Academy. And so I'm just so excited to be able to share that with you. But I just want to make sure if there was any other questions while we are live. I am willing to answer any of your questions that you still have about publishing a book on Kindle. Does anybody have any other questions? Please type them in the chat box or in the Facebook comments. Okay. I'm not seeing any other questions. Okay, well, I hope that you have found this so helpful. I hope that you're motivated to take the next step to go from procrastination to publication. Just take the next step. If that next step is choosing your book topic, use that book topic formula and do it. If the next step is outlining your book, do it. If the next step is beginning to write your book and choosing how you want to write your book, do it. Just take that next step and follow the guide that I've given you. Everything is in there, and I am so excited. Please let me know when you have taken the next step, when you've published your book, and I am so excited to just celebrate with you. So thank you for joining me, and I will touch base with you guys online. Thank you. This is Shelly Hitz from shellyhitz.com.